Once again, I'm one of your hosts for the night, Rob Smith.
And I'm your other host today, Koku Tona.
We have our second film coming to you guys tonight, and it is called K.I.N.G. It is written and directed by Rashad Frett. K.I.N.G. follows a troubled teen who ventures into an unfamiliar city seeking a bond with his estranged father.
Hi, Rashad.
What's going on? How you doing?
Good. Thank you. Thanks for joining us. So excited to get some questions out to you. I have a lot of them.
Yeah. All right. Not too much. Now, wait a minute. I ain't signed up for this.
Just a few.
All right, let's get into it.
Where you knock off my door
Tell
from?
him to come outside.
Tell who to come
Tell him
outside.
to bring this outside. Right. Your boy hit my son,
Listen,
make him come out.
Take you and your ass pit them and move from in front of my door.
But
If your pit me get licking, they deserve the licks.
Bring him outside or you come check what I want to do. Really?
Okay.
Come outside. You have to be...
Leave a message.
I want to spend a whole month and I'm paying. You ain't see me yesterday.
Yo, look at you. Big man, that chair boy, I know. Get up from a chair.
This is truly why we do this, because when we can bring films of such beauty and quality to people, we really love to showcase independent filmmakers and independent film in a real way, and just really shine a light on projects like this and directors like the two of you who joined us today. So thank you again so much for joining us. So I see that you brought a lot of your Caribbean heritage and influence to this project. Now, how was the process of writing and directing a story and keeping it true to your heritage and making sure that part of you came across in the story?
Well, I mean, it was easy for me, honestly. I mean, I just looked in the mirror pretty much and asked myself, what did I go through? What did I go through in my life? And what a lot of my peers who are also of the same demographics went through. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna just write my story and just put it on the forefront and use it kind of like as a platform to open up conversations. So I kind of just pretty much looked in the mirror to get that influence. And but like, if you want the longer version, you know, it's gonna have to be another time, because it was definitely a process. It was not easy doing this, because like we lost locations because of the hurricane, and it was a lot. I'll keep it at the short version.
Okay.
So one of the questions I had was, initially we really didn't understand the aunt. She seemed really harsh and kind of cold. But as the story developed, you realized that essentially she was just protecting him. And we know, I go back to that scene where they're at the gambling spot. You know, his dad just kind of sees, you know, the aunt in the distance. They kind of have this sort of stare off. He looks at the son, you know, they look at each other. So I had to ask, is it possible, as far as the story that you're telling, that perhaps the dad was being cold as well because he was trying to protect his son from him too?
That would have been, you know, it's interesting because so I'm writing the feature length. I'm in the process of writing the full length to that. So stay tuned for that within the next couple of years. And I've actually entertained that process because I didn't want to make it seem, I mean, this is a short film. I didn't want to make the father just seem like he's like a piece of shit. But for this, no, it was not for this short. For this short, he honestly didn't know who his son was. He didn't see. He was supposed to see him, but he didn't see who he was. But that like I said, for the feature length that I'm working on, I'm gonna entertain that. Some things are gonna be revamped, but that's one of the ways that I'm going to possibly entertain, because I mean, and there's good and bad fathers all over. You know what I mean? I mean, I'm a product of. I'm pretty much King is my story. Not verbatim, but I've experienced that kind of like in different times in my life with that going down that road. But yeah.
Well,
So
I, think, I
I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, and I think it's important as artists to tell every kind of story. We can't just show the positive. We have to show all experiences because they're real life experiences that people go through. And I think watching this and watching films like this, there's kids out there who may see this film and understand it and relate to it and know that they have that family support and they have that structure and they can still grow from the negative. So I think it was beautifully done. And speaking of you're welcome. Speaking of the son in the film, I understand this was his first acting experience. So how was that working with a kid and also this being his first project? Because he did a phenomenal job.
So that ties back to me losing my location. I originally was going to shoot this back in St. Thomas, Virgin Islands, where my family's from. Like between all the Virgin Islands from St. Thomas, St. Croix, St. John, and then the British Virgin Islands, Tortola. I was going to shoot it down there. And I did it as part of my second year film at NYU Tisch. And what happened is that, so I went down there, I was looking for somebody authentic. So I actually went to the playhouses down there and I was looking for like actors at first. And I watched like Lion King. It was like a Lion King in the islands. And it was cool. It was great, but it's just not what I was looking for, And my sister's uncle, who's a politician in the islands, he knew he knows my story. He knows my father and this and that. He said he may have somebody for me. So he brought me to a rough part of the Virgin Islands, St. Thomas, and we were waiting for him because he wasn't home. So I didn't know it was him, but we were sitting in the truck on the side of the dirt road, and I seen somebody bouncing this basketball up the street, and I'm observing him, and he didn't say anything, and I was like, that's him. He didn't say a word, and I knew it was him.
Wow.
So I met him in the Virgin Islands, and when I met him, his life experience was very similar to mine, single parent household. So when I approached him and his mother with it, it was kind of like they were kind of like it was just like they didn't know how to take it because it was just I was kind of like very ambitious, and it's like when you want something, it's just like you gotta wait for them to catch up. You know what I mean? So I pretty much told him what I had going on. I'm in New York. I'm in film school, this and that, and I would like the son to audition for the role, this and that. So I just left them the script, and then I went back and I went to the beach. I went to the beach to relax for the rest of the day, and then the next day, he hit me up. He was like he want to do it. This is his story too, but he said under the condition that like we have a talk. So like we met up, and we spent the day, and we was just talking about his life, and he went through some rough stuff. He was in the streets in the islands. I didn't know like the stuff he was telling me. It was rough, and he was telling it in a way not to scare me or like but just to like let me understand what I'm trying to do. And I was like, I know, I understand that, So yeah, from there we just I had everything set up for the Virgin Islands, and then I came back up to New York, and then hurricane, because this happened in 2017, so Hurricane Irma hit, and what was the other one? It was Irma, and then the other hurricane. It was two hurricanes, and then so I lost all of my locations, and I couldn't get in contact with him. So like months later, he hit me up, probably like a month before the shoot, said that they had to like move, they had to just leave everything and move to Atlanta, and he still want to do it. And I was like, all right, my second location where I also grew up in Hartford, Connecticut, that's where we shot it. It's a huge Caribbean community up there. At one point, it was the third largest
I didn't
in
even
the
know that.
country.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was the third largest. So it's a lot of Caribbeans up there. New York #1, Florida #2, and then Hartford area was #3. So we filmed up there. So when I flew him up there, and he came to New York for the first time, dead of winter, you know, it was like freezing cold. He never been on subways. He never seen snow. So it was kind of like a culture shock to him. But he kind of like it actually helped because it put him exactly into that character that I envisioned. So from here on out, for the feature, I want him to be the lead. So he's been working on other small roles and this and that. And I mean, it got to a point where I can't put his name out there, but one of my professors, a highly regarded professor, wanted to meet him face to face, but yeah, like things happened, and unfortunately I wasn't able to. But soon it'll happen. Yeah,
I love that.
And I wanted to follow up with, because as you said, this is your story, and now we understand that it is a very huge part of, well, his story as well. So you both do have to reach from an emotional place to put together the content and to put it out there. Is it difficult to write something that speaks so closely to some of the more difficult areas that you've been in your life? And are there times when even someone may have to stop filming because it's like, this is a little bit too close to the reality?
So it got to a point where he really got into the role, like he really got into it, and it was I think towards the end, when that scene towards the end, like he was really feeling it.
Yeah.
So like what I did, I kind of like told cast, you know, everybody just give him a moment to really take it in, and to, you know, I didn't want to rush him. I just wanted him to do it at his own pace. So at times it did, yes. For me personally, I didn't realize what I was writing until I finished my first cut. And I was in the editing room and I watched it all the way through, and I just kind of like lost it. And I was like, wait a minute, like that's not supposed to happen. You know what I mean? So I had one of my classmates check it out, and they was like, it was the same thing, and it was like, oh crap, like what's going on here, you know? So yeah, definitely. Yeah, thank you. I use these like when I write something, it's like therapy. It's like therapeutic. You know, like I write my life. Well, most people do. Like they write certain aspects of their life on film, and but it was therapeutic, and I got through it, and you know, moved forward. And even like, I mean, my father never saw it, but I never really hated my father for not being around. I just figured it was what it was. But I mean, we're cool. I never really hated him, but you know, I know for me that I'm gonna go down that same road.
Well, we appreciate you for sharing your story. I said, well, we appreciate you for sharing your story.
Absolutely.
It was done so beautifully and so well. And thank you for bringing together such a great cast of characters and sharing with us.
Stay tuned for the feature. It's coming. Stay tuned for the feature.
Absolutely.
Where can people go to follow you on social media so that they can keep up with you and be aware when the feature is ready and launching?
Sure. So on IG, my name is Cine Rebel, like cinema, CINE Rebel, because I'm a rebel. But don't tell my mother because I'm getting in trouble. Cine Rebel Cine Rebel 860. That's my IG, and then you can look me up on Facebook, Rashad Frett, or just Google me and like a whole bunch of stuff will come up, and then you can just find me from there.
Good stuff, right?
I'm friendly, so you can quote me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, of course, absolutely. Like if it was bad stuff, I wouldn't tell none of y'all. Y'all had to find it on your own.
Well, thank you again. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thank
you again.